In this video, we're going to talk about removing WordPress admin menus. So I received an email from a viewer named Luca, and he asked about removing some of the admin menus from the dashboard so that users that have access to the WordPress admin don't see those options. And we've done this actually before with customers that want to get in and tinker with the site a little bit. We've removed things like users and appearance so that they don't break the site, so that we don't have to go back in and fix it. Now, you can do this with different user types, but sometimes someone says, hey, I want admin rights. And so you say, okay, here's admin rights. If they're not familiar with WordPress, they don't know that they're missing menu options. If they're familiar with WordPress, they might know that they're missing them, and you then have to go from there and say, yeah, I removed them because that's not something you need to be messing with. So in this video, I want to go through and show you guys how to remove menu items from the WordPress admin. And there's actually a couple of different ways you can do it. There's removing it with functions pre-built into WordPress. You can also remove it with JavaScript. I'll show both on this video and explain why you would use one over the other. Okay, so let's get started. So here on our ideapro.io website that we do testing and examples, we're open here on the admin, WordPress admin, and this is just a site that has the default 2021 theme on it because we just use it for testing and examples. All right, so we have the appearance, plugins, users, tools. These four menu options here are the ones that Luca specifically said he wanted to remove in the email that he sent. So I'll go through removing these and then show you guys how you can remove it for a specific user or a specific user type. Okay, so here on our code, or our editor, we're going to create a new plugin. So here in plugins, we're going to create a new folder, and we're going to do it as IdeaPro remove WP admin menus. It's kind of a long plugin name, but we're going to start that way. All right, so here in this folder, we're going to put a new file, and we're going to save that file as the same exact name. So we're going to say IdeaPro remove WP admin menu.php. Okay, so that's our start of our plugin file. So up here at the top, we're going to open up some PHP brackets, and we're going to put a couple of comment sections there. We're going to say plugin name. I like to capitalize that. Plugin name, IdeaPro remove WP admin items. That's good enough. Description, you don't have to put one. If this is just for your website, you really don't have to put a description, but we'll just say we want to remove items from the WordPress admin. Good enough. All right, so then we can close this out there. All right, so then we can save that, upload it to the site, do whatever you need to do, come back over here into plugins, and we can activate that. Okay, so now our plugin is activated. Of course, it's not doing anything because it doesn't show up. It doesn't do anything. We don't have anything here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a function, and we're going to call this IdeaPro remove WP admin menus. Right? And you want that function to be unique for whatever you're building or the website you're building, or you don't want it to conflict with other functions in the WordPress site. So here we're going to put in add action. And the add action is a function pre-built into WordPress that allows you to call actions that are built into WordPress to do different things. Remove menu items, add menu items. There's all kinds of things you can do with add action, and you can find that in the WordPress codex. Okay, this first item here is going to be the action that we're going to want to call, and so that is going to be the admin menu. And then the second one here is the callback function that we're using. This is our callback function here. So we're going to place that there. Okay, so now if we save this and we go and we refresh the page, again, it still doesn't do anything because we haven't put anything in that function. That function is firing now. It just doesn't do anything because we haven't told it to do anything. Now this is really simple. There's a function pre-built inside of WordPress that's to remove the admin menu, but you have to know what the slug of that menu item is that you want. Okay, so here's the function: remove menu page. It's literally that easy. And now inside of here, we're going to put in the slug of the page that we want to remove. The first one we want to remove that Luca asked in his email is the appearance menu option. And that page is going to be themes.php. Okay, so if we save that, we come back over here, we have appearance button here. And if we refresh the page, that appearance button is now gone. So appearance is gone. So we're going to go to the dashboard. We don't have appearance in there anymore. So it's literally gone, all right? So I got off of the plugins because the plugins is the next one that we're going to remove, all right? So we're gonna just copy this and we're gonna come down here and we're gonna say plugins.php because that is the plugins page, all right? We're gonna refresh and now that plugins page, that plugin menu item is gone, okay? And again, the next one is users. So we're going to say users.php. We're going to refresh, and now users is gone. And then, of course, the last one is going to be tools. So we're going to refresh that, save. So those are the 4 items that we want to remove. And of course, you can remove specific ones to what you want to remove. So we're going to pretty much remove everything here just so you guys can see. So the next one we want to remove is upload.php, which is the media here. So we're going to refresh and now media is gone. The next one that we're going to remove, posts, which is edit.php. We're going to refresh and posts is now gone. The next one that we're going to remove is comments. So we're going to say comments dash edit. Actually, I think it's edit comments.php. Okay. So we're going to come over here and we're going to refresh. And now comments is gone. The next one we're going to remove is settings. And settings is actually options general.php. So we're going to refresh that. And so now the only one that we have left is pages. And pages is a little bit longer and harder to do. But this is how you do it. Edit.php question mark post type is equal to page. All right. So we'll come back over here and we refresh. And now pages refresh. There we go. So now pages is gone. So basically we have home, updates, and that's it. So updates, I mean, if you want to remove that, we could. I mean, once you get to this point here, there's not much that you would want to remove. I mean, if you wanted to remove the dashboard, you could come back in here and say, last but not least, index.php. And we come back over here, we refresh, and it's gone. Dashboard is now gone. So now you have nothing over here on the menu whatsoever. And you can come back in here and you could say, well, I want people to be able to upload. So we'll turn that off. And that's the only option that we want people to have is the media. So there you go. That's the only thing that they can come in here and do and upload the media. Now, one thing we can do is from up here at the top, we can pull in the global current user. All right, if I spell it right, global, there we go. If we pull in the global current user, now we could specify to a specific user ID. So we could say if current user ID is equal to 4. Remove all this stuff. Whoops. There we go. And I'm not user 4, so now everything shows up. I'm actually user 2, I believe. So let's go in here and refresh. And so now everything's gone for user 2. Now you could do that into an array of users and say, if user exists in the array, we can do that really quick. So we can say users is equal to, whoops, array, come on, spell it right. There we go. And then we could say user 2, user 3, user 4, user 5, right? And so then we change this to in array, and the needle current user ID, whoops, current user ID, and the haystack is going to be users. Okay, so we do that, we come back over here and refresh, and it's not, we don't have access. If we remove user ID 2, and we come back over and refresh, now I have access to everything. So you could specify per user ID what they have access to and what they don't have access to. Now, you could also do it by the user role. So we're going to say $role is equal to $current user, and that's going to be roles, and that role is going to be a 0. So in the current user, you have a property called roles from the current user object. So that's what this is here. You have, this is the current user object. This is a property of that object called roles, and then you have an array of the different roles for that user. Typically, a user only has one role, but it's still in an array. So that first role is going to be 0. So for this one, we can, I know mine is administrator. So if we wanted to say here in our if statement, if role is equal to administrator, then don't show those menu items, right? So now those menu items are gone. If we came in and said if role is equal to editor, then it's going to show, because I'm not an editor, I'm an administrator. So then we can pull these out and say, okay, if role is equal to administrator, there we go, spell it right, administrator, there we go. So if administrator, of course I don't have those options, then I can come down here and say else if, and in here we can say $role is equal to editor, right? Then we can come and just grab some of these, right? Take them out of the administrator side, put them into here, right? Tab over just a little bit. We'll tab these over just a little bit to keep it cleaner, and save. So now we can refresh the page, and the administrator only has access to the items that are not listed here. So the administrator doesn't have access to themes. So if we come over here, there's no appearance, there's no plugins, there's no pages, and there's no dashboard. So we come over here, we got posts, media, comments, users, tools, settings. So administrator can have access to several of those things, where the editor only has access to the items that are not here. So the editor wouldn't have access to users, tools, media, posts, comments, and settings. Okay, so if we want to give the administrator everything, we can just leave that blank, come and put these down here for the editor, and now the editor wouldn't have anything, but the administrator has everything. Okay, so that would be how you would do the based on per role. And you could also say or $role is equal to subscriber, or $role is equal to author, the different user types in WordPress. And come back over here, the administrator still has access to it. So let's say you have a user that you don't want to have access to users, okay? So we would take this one here, copy it, paste it up here, and we could say if current user ID is equal to, and then we'll say 2, because that's my current user ID. We can refresh and come back over here, and now I don't have access to users, but I have access to everything else. And then anyone that is editor, subscriber, or author doesn't have access to any of this at all. It's just going to be blank. So that is how you'd be able to separate it from a specific user ID or specific role. And at the first of the video, I said that there was a couple of different ways to do this. So the other way would be to use JavaScript. So let's say that we have access to this here and we want to do it by JavaScript. And the reason you might want to do that is so that, let's say you want to hide it specifically for your user account, right? You come in and you're the administrator and you've got everything. Let's put users back in there. So we have everything complete, right? And so, but we want to clean it up so that we don't see all this. Maybe pages is the only thing that we really want to see, and we don't want to see everything else. Or let's say we don't want to see comments. I don't want to be inundated with all the comments that are coming in. I have someone else that's going to handle all that. So I want to get rid of comments. So what we would do is we would come in and say, we would call another function, and so remove comments from admin, right? Okay, so that's our function. And then here we're going to say add action. And we're going to do, did I spell that right? Yeah, add action. We're going to do a admin footer. I believe that's the correct one to use. And so we're going to do our callback function here. And so then in here, we're just going to do a script. And this isn't the best way to do this, but I just want to show it for the video, right? So here, we're going to do a script. And so then we can do, and we're going to find out what the ID of comments is. So we're going to inspect this, and we're going to come down here, and the menu option here is menu comments. All right, so we're going to close that. So menu comments, I did not want to do it that way. Let's take that out. Like that. Menu comments dot, and we are using jQuery. So we'll do it like that. jQuery, and we're going to say CSS display none. And we're going to save that. We'll come back over here and we're going to refresh, and now comments is gone. And why would you want to do that? And here's the reason why you might want to do that, to clean up your workspace, but not use the remove menu page item here. If you remove this way, remove the menu page item, it is gone from PHP loading that item in the menu. If you do it through JavaScript like this or jQuery like this, you could come in here and go, man, you're not at your desk where you have your code that you can turn it back on, and you're like, oh, I need to be able to see comments. So you could come over here and you could inspect this area, and you could find the comments menu item. Let's do right here. Here's the, that's footer. Let's find comments. Menu comments, there it is. So here, menu comments, of course, it's not showing up over here, and the style is display none. You could take this out and hit enter, and now we have comments here. So we literally turned it on, and we can see these comments. Of course, when you click comments, it's going to disappear again because we've only done that in the inspector, but now you have access to comments. So you could physically turn it on that way without having to go back into the code and turn off, remove menu page that way. So that's two ways to do it. You could do it this way even for users like this. If they're smart enough user, if they're familiar with WordPress, they could maybe think that you did it through JavaScript, and again go in there and turn off the display none and see that menu option again. So this would probably not be the best way to do it, but there is a way with JavaScript like this that you can turn off menu options. So hope that answers the question, and hope that helps someone else remove menu items. Same thing if you have Yoast or a plugin that does something and you want to remove it for users, you can go into one of these, click on it, and see what the URL is for that item, copy that, remove it in here, or put it in here, and it will remove that item. So it's pretty much any plugin that you do is going to have a URL that it goes to, and that's the URL that you put into there to remove that menu item from WordPress. Hope that helped you guys. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.